that we all love symbiotes. They're epic and awesome, and they come in many shapes, form, or fashion. The more years that come out, it seems like we get more lore on them. You can pause the video if you have to. If you want to read all of this, symbiote lineage or family line, they all come from one another in one shape, form, or fashion, with the popular ones being, you know, Carnage and of course Venom himself, and then it spawns different hosts, Anti-Venom, how the Venom gets altered to Anti-Venom to some degree, even going to Toxin, and then Scorn. It's just a lot of different things. Another family tree I found on Google. It's awesome. Don't you love Google? I will not be going over every single feat, even though this is a symbiote feat compilation. I'm not going to go over every single feat in existence because some of the feats are going to start repeating each other. I mean, how many times do I have to show you they can lift a truck? And it's all started from this godlike being as well. He's the god of them. They even state Spider-Man thought he was in trouble when he ran into one symbiote. How about running into 5 of the symbiotes? Even called the Life Foundation. And this is how it looks on Marvel.com when it comes to the symbiote host. A lot of different hosts over the freaking year. You got symbiotes like Scream, can slash holes in the airplane door, sends other symbiotes like Agony flying with a hit. You see these letters, symbiotes say, let me just throw these letters around because I can. Even though they're supposedly spawns of the Venom, they still can like cause major damage to buildings with their literal tendrils, making more limbs for themselves. Seem to attack Venom with enough force to even appear to harm a Venom, who is a Spider-Man tier, showing his level of power, reacting to him and everything. Of course, they've gotten in occasions with Spider-Man's even restraining his arms, and this occasions double teaming him. Like Venom, these things don't trigger a Spider Sense warning. Just like Venom, they even briefly go over the origin of how the spawn of Venom's costume joined a psychopathic serial killer, and that's how Carnage was spawned. Now he has to deal with 5 of them. Scream is strong enough to uproot trees and throw it at Spider-Man as well. Spider-Man even comments on how fast she is. Scream dodges a strike from Eddie Brock. They can take strikes from the man himself without getting one-shotted. Even strikes from Spider-Man himself, they can still keep fighting. They seem to have shapeshifting ability, how Scream is able to just camouflage herself and then pop up out of the blue and fight and catch you off guard completely. Like, for example, Scream was able to camouflage herself, like on some going invisible type stuff. All the symbiotes, not just her, seem to be able to stretch their limbs. They hit Eddie in this particular occasion. Scream and other symbiote have literally 8 Spider-Man's web. I'm talking about she's absorbed my webbing, spitting it out like a fur ball. Like, pfft. Then you got symbiotes like Ride, who look very similar to Venom, can of course take punches from Spidey, restrains Eddie Brock with tendril, even made his hand into a hammer. You got yellow symbiotes like this. Phage literally grapples with Venom, showing their competence. Kicks off a metal door. Strength, literally can shape their arms into blades and cut through crate. Made his arm into blade. Then you got symbiotes like the Lasher, can restrain other beings on their tier like Fade, was also a helpful aid in restraining Spidey. Then you got beings like Agony, endure a punch from other tiers like Scream, one of the folks to hit Eddie Brock. What if I told you 4 of the overpowered symbiotes got fused together and formed a literal hybrid combining their power? Not many showings of him, but he slams his guard through a wall. His tendrils catch bullets out of the air, does it again on several different directions, strangles gang members. He launches the bullets back after catching them. Symbiote can literally sense attacks that's about to hit them. That's the thing about symbiotes, man. They're hard to fight. They could just make a whole bunch of different tendrils. How do you fight a being that can attack you from any angle at any time in any second? On top of the fact, he can see through the tendrils on some lurking stuff. Hybrid, scary. He can even attack you with a piece of the symbiote itself just to hurt you even further. If you got like a gauntlet that hurts them, they can just try to counter you that way by getting it off. Of course, this state didn't last forever, and this ended up getting de-aligned or dismembered. They ended up becoming separate bioweapons on some military special ops stuff, like a military squad, talking about some assigned bioweapon Agony, Navy SEAL sniper, assigned bioweapon Fade, assigned bioweapon symbiotic enhanced war dog slasher. You know, see, some bioweapons allow you to stick the wall, and they can be used for differences. These special attributes allow them to keep track of fleeing spider creatures. Guns seem to damage part of the Carnage symbiote. I think my symbiote did, literally looking part symbiote, but still keeping control of their mind. You got Lasher, got the symbiotic war dog attached to him like that. It even tore through a spider creature. This is able to hang on to a spider creature hanging on to Wolverine's arm. Agony has the special ability of damaging people, being controlled by the bulletproof Carnage symbiote. They were symbiotes from Venom, then they ended up fighting Venom, Spider-Man, then ended up fusing together, and they ended up getting split up again to use it as bioweapon. Then you got symbiotes like Scorn, who's a unique symbiote in their own way. Just like the other symbiote, seems to be competent to spider people or other Venom tier. Just a classic thing you would expect from a symbiote tier. I will admit the design is pretty freaking cool though. Can harm Doppelganger with a strike, who is technically a spider clone, a spider kid that seemingly has limitless organic webbing. Considering that Spider-Man has lifted thousands of tons or even hundreds of tons, Spider-Man, the real one, considers this clone strong as crap, meaning Scorn should be in this range as well, and that's no surprise. Because Scorn was born inside of a prosthetic arm, it technically never learned the difference between itself and robotic stuff. Doing so, it simulated machinery for its body. Like how it literally made a big chainsaw arm, turns a jet turbine into a gun. It even reiterates what I just said about it never learned the distinction between itself and the robotics it inhabited. These things were built in war. It's a hybrid of a symbiote and a machine, allowing Dr. Neves to form symbiotic bonds with technology, meaning that she has technopathy. In this occasion, assimilating machinery. Notice how they state clearly this is the puppet master. I have to cut his strings. I had to build something that would separate him from the others. A technologically based symbiote is awesome. The arm seemingly has a sonic cannon to counter against other symbiote. It creates its own containment unit for the Carnage symbiote anyway. Why not talk about Eddie Brock Venom some more? He's one of those characters that's had a lot of different evolutions over the years. Some of these modes ended up becoming like his temporary modes, like the normal basic Venom, and then you got the Toxin evolution, then you have the Anti-Venom, which I'm going to go over in this video. Surprisingly, Marvel recently has been given a lot of symbiote love when it comes to the Knull event. Venom was he was pretty much the hero in that event, you know what I'm saying? Heck, he even had forms like this from the War of the Realms where he got like the magical Dreamstone to enchant him with weapons. One could say magic Venom, you know, that type of thing. And let's not forget, which I'm gonna show later on in this vid, then he had one form where he became Legion, aka became so strong where he even joined the Hulkish tiers. Yes, I'm going to go over that later on in this vid. Yes, there was a time where Venom actually got so powerful, he joined the Hulk Juggernaut levels of raw power during the Knull event and all that good stuff. Then one could say he even surpassed all that. All right, you know what? Let me just get right into it. He became like the God of Light and all that good stuff. Captain Universe and all that madness. So even if you see my other Venom videos, you still want to check this one out.
And you've probably seen him in a lot of Spider-Man content, seen him fighting Spider-Man in multiple forms of media, seen him fighting him in the comics or either Spider-Man the animated series, or even the fact that Venom got a live action movie out of all the villains. And he's a really interesting character and not just a pure evil being that's got no substance. He's an interesting character that actually often becomes good here and there to serve his own purpose. His rivalry with Spider-Man is legendary, and his fights with Spider-Man is even more legendary. This is one of the reasons why he is so impressive, due to the fact how impressive Spider-Man is, but yet he tosses Spider-Man around like a rag doll on a daily basis. But how strong is Venom? Well, let's find out. Along with pretty much having all the abilities of Spider-Man, he also gets some stuff that Spider-Man doesn't have, such as being bulletproof, having the suit help him regenerate faster than normal, and can pretty much shapeshift his body and limbs into blades and hammers or whatever he sees fit to help him fight even more. And he can even stretch his body to even further convenience his battle fighting tactics. Not to mention he's immune to his spider sense, and he has ridiculous combat speed and raw strength on his own. Despite not being on the level of characters like Juggernaut, he is still strong enough to punch him through several stories, showing that he can pretty much punch with the force to be able to punch a being through a building, basically. Even though he couldn't really harm Juggernaut or really can't do much to Juggernaut, the fact he's able to do this lets you know that his level of strength is pretty insane. Pretty much able to punch him through the ground. Pretty cool. Even though he does not scale to Juggernaut though. His striking power is so insane, he was able to actually destroy a part of a building. He can literally focus his symbiote to certain limbs of his body, punching out of solid brick walls. Smashes through the ceiling of a 747 jetliner. Strong enough to cut or cleave metal cyborgs in half. He has consistently shown to get the advantage over Spider-Man, outspeed him, overpower him physically, and even smash his head into concrete. Can punch through metal doors. Strong enough to pretty much create a shockwave with his head, being able to do like his own ground smash type maneuver while fighting a giant monster, and you can clearly see the size difference between him. Despite the monster eating him, he is still strong enough to bust his way out with raw strength alone, despite the monster having the clear size advantage, showing that size isn't everything depending on the opponent. Another fight of him getting the advantage over Spider-Man. Can punch through solid rock. Is strong enough to tear apart an armored vehicle. Another fight of him pretty much getting the advantage over Spider-Man himself, a being that has ridiculously insane strength feats for his tier and has ridiculous speed feats, some even debatably fast and light feats, even though he's able to blitz him on occasion multiple times. Actually able to punch a powerhouse in good distance. Nova is a ridiculously high powerhouse, a being that fights Thor and Hulk level beings, and he's able to send him flying. Not trying to scale him to him or anything, because I don't think he's actually on his level, but this is still impressive nonetheless, just sending him flying in general. One benefit of actually being Venom is the fact that his combat speed is insane, being able to react and catch bullets with his mouth and can shoot them back. Shown he actually can fight Spider-Man yet again. Lifts and pours a water tower. He has multiple feats of him lifting bulldozers. Lifts a huge truck. Shown to be able to lift a bulldozer yet again, while severely weakened and not even at his fullest potential due to the symbiote not even being fully consumed on him. He's able to support the weight of a falling Ferris wheel. This is a 100-ton feat at least. Strong enough to tear a large tree in half. One could say that Spider-Man's web is about as strong as Spider-Man physically. Venom is easily able to bust out of Spider-Man's web by just simply expanding his symbiote. There was even that time where Spider-Man using both arms couldn't overpower Venom using one arm. There was that time where Venom actually broke out of Iceman's ice. Please note that Iceman's ice has stabbed beings like Thor. Don't believe me, Google it. He actually stabbed beings like Thor with his ice. Not saying this is Iceman's most lethal ice or his coldest ice ever against Venom, but breaking out of any version of Iceman's ice due to his track record and history of Iceman and the fact that he's an Omega level mutant is insane and impressive. Naturally, Venom has insane combat speed, being able to catch and react to bullets even after they are past him. That shows some insane travel speed at the moment, because as you can see here, he traveled a short distance to be able to do this. Able to react to bullets. Even after a ton of bullets are shot at him, he's able to block every single one of them with his symbiote. There's a time he was able to catch and react to, yes right, even shotgun blast. As you can see here, he got in the way of them very fast. Easily shown to be able to toy with Spider-Man, even when Spider-Man is ant by a symbiote himself, still showing that he's pretty much superior still to him. Not only that, he's not only shown to have the advantage over Spider-Man or Peter Parker himself, but also Miles Morales as Spider-Man. He's able to get the overhand over Spider-Man like always. He even states something crazy. He even states that Spider-Man is moving to slow motion to him. This is insane, and it's not an exaggeration considering this actual fight in particular, and the fights in particular in the past. So it does have some meaning to it. There's been many occasions where it shows Venom is bulletproof. Even when he's not trying to like avoid or catch the bullets with his symbiote, he just takes them full on. One of the things that makes him different than Spider-Man and unique is the fact that he can shapeshift his tendrils, pretty much make weapons and blades, kind of like a Green Lantern construct. Not on that level, but you get the point. Able to use claws to cut things up with razor sharp talons. There's that time he was even able to shield Punisher from bullets by extending his symbiote to help others out. It's a unique defensive thing. One of the cool things is shapeshifting allows him to glide. So by now, I think it's safe to say that Venom is extremely strong. While it may seem like Venom is unstoppable, he does not scale to super big powerhouses to like characters like the Hulk. The thing about Venom is that he scales way, way stronger than characters like Captain America, Kingpin, Batman, Nightwing, and etc. Did you know he was this strong? Believe it or not, there was a time where Eddie Brock had thought his symbiote was evil, so he wanted to atone of his sins of his past. Eddie began to work at a soup kitchen owned by Martin Lee, and you know where this is going. Eddie didn't know that Martin Lee was a supervillain at the time known as Mr. Negative. To Eddie Brock's surprise, there were still traces of symbiote in his DNA. The symbiote that remained reacted weirdly to an interaction with Martin Lee. So when he came into contact with Venom again, aka Matt Gargan at the time, in this case you can see, look how Matt Gargan Venom looks with his eyes. I know it looks creepy. And as you can see, it interacted weirdly, turning him into Anti-Venom. Yeah, got the little wipe, kind of like Mr. Negative, you know what I'm saying? The antibodies of the symbiote, they actually study, it is stated here, it's made up of human, alien, hybrid antibodies. This Venom is back to his insane self. One of his main abilities that makes him so dangerous compared to other symbiotes is his power negation ability. He believed he was on a holy mission to like heal the world from powers and stuff. He's a beast and he would get like raged out moment. This is one of those temporary power-ups, so he doesn't stay like this all the time. You know, he eventually lost while curing those affected by Jackal's spider plague and returned to plain old Eddie Brock. He's basically Venom on crack, like whatever Venom can do, like normal Eddie Brock black suit Venom can do, this suit can do better. He's just stronger to every degree. So them other feats that Venom can do should be taken into consideration, like stopping a big oil rig, destroying metal doors, tearing apart an armored vehicle, smashing through the ceiling of a jetliner, smashing through thick brick walls, destroys part of a building, punches through the head of a giant monster, shattering the floor with a two-handed strike, like kind of like a shockwave, swiping cars in half, casually lifts a water tower that had to weigh at least 40 tons, lifts up bulldozers or tanks, lifts up large truck, lifts this big rig. When he was weakened, able to hold a collapsing Ferris wheel, tears large trees in half, tears through large steel doors, collapsing two pillars, and all that stuff that normal Venom can do, Anti-Venom should be able to do that or even better. So that's just a benchmark on how strong Anti-Venom is, right? He has to get in physical contact to negate folks' abilities, and after he touches them, he has to be near them. And if they get far away, they can get their powers back though. But it states he can't take away his powers permanently if it's long enough exposure. It states here, I can't let his claws into me or he'll cure me, take away my powers for good. Like pieces of his GUI that is off of him can literally like negate your powers as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be him on you all the time. He literally does this to the other Venom, weakens him by touching him, almost depowers Spider-Man in their fights. It's like a walking hacks, man. It states here, my strength, my speed, everything is cutting in and out. Almost like he can negate radiation because Spider-Man's power is based on radiation or being exposed to radiation. A guy that's power is based on being exposed to chemicals, he was able to negate Radioactive Man's abilities as well. Just an absolute beast. I don't know how you're able to negate a character like Songbird's abilities, even though her powers is based on cybernetic enhancements. One of the victims of the Spider Island got his powers negated permanently. Yeah, that was this big Spider Island event where everybody got, like, a lot of people got spider powers. But yeah, he cures many Spider Island victims at once. Legit crazy. Find this hilarious that there's people that actually want to stay spider-like. They state, no, man, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Some people had drastically jacked up looking bodies. He, like, literally cured them, turned them back to normal bodies and everything. Kind of seems like these folks appreciate him though. Kind of getting religious up in here, ain't it? One of the best ways to figure out Venom's power is Spider-Man's strength. Look what Spider-Man can do lifting up this heavy stuff. 30-ton train carts he can flick with a freaking finger. And Spider-Man can indeed lift 60-ton tanks. Anti-Venom or Venom should be able to do this or more easily. Most Spider-Man characters are above the 100 tons lifting power levels. By the way, he's just full-blown completely bulletproof. Not even fire. And bullets will cut it. Oh yeah, this is occasional Punisher, battle feat. Sorry, Punisher. Fighting speed to react and block bullets. He can make like shape-shifting little shields. I'm gonna get to that. Occasional Punisher. He took a sonic beam from Songbird. He was pretending to be Spider-Man. Yeah. He got hit with a blast set off bomb in the city, a baby atomic bomb by Songbird. Endured it. Oh yeah, by the way, he's physically strong enough to lift up cars. That's no surprise, right? Strong enough to manhandle super soldier tiers like Punisher. Yeah, that's right. Punisher is super soldier tier. And when it comes to just raw strength, he can casually crack concrete by ripping into the ground here in this cage and healing folk. That one time he smashed 2 hollow statues of Mr. Negative because he can just strike that hard. By the way, he was slinging Mr. Negative around in this occasion. Of course, he can tear through the hood of a car and just ragdolling Spider-Man around with him. Battle feat. Yeah. Large metal doors. He is strong enough to kick down. He's pretending to be Spider-Man here. He's strong enough to smash a motorcycle into pieces. Battlefield with Spider-Man. Look how hard he's able to manhandle Spider-Man. Like I showed this earlier, but look, the ground is cracking beneath them. Even larger chunks of concrete getting indentured, like big old fists too. Large vehicles get striked over. Sling one. It's just easy work to him. And lifting these cars ain't nothing. He manhandled Venom at Gargan. Just an occasion of raw strength. I know I already showed this earlier about the fit of rage, but by the way, he ripped a man in half, just raw strength. As fast as Spider-Man is, Spider-Man literally can't evade him, but a part of it is because of the fact that he negates powers when he touches it, but he can't negate it if he hasn't touched you before. So for Spider-Man to have problems still reacting to him shows his speed. Nothing different in Marvel. He jumps fast enough to evade gunfire. You can see he's there, and then boom, he's gone. Speed. He can transform into his mode and then quickly catch up to a car in raw, like travel speed. Jumps on top of it, rips it open like I showed earlier, but I'm mainly highlighting the speed here. Even a group of folk with Spider-Man's abilities can't just simply avoid him. And this is the occasion I showed him curing him. He just blitzing all of them. He's implied to be faster than Punisher, in this occasion blocking these attacks, saves them in the process. I mean, there was one time he was even distracted and he blocked a surprise attack from Punisher. Just to give you an idea of his speed, when he runs, you can see like the little clouds of smoke behind him, implying raw, just sprinting speed. I remember that one time he blitzed a group of inner demons who have some decent superhuman speed in their own right. They get blitzed. Most symbiotes can increase their attack power by increasing their mass, like making his fist gigantic in this occasion, fighting Venom. Remember that he lengthened his fingers into like little small blades, kind of. Has like his own little version of webbing, as you can see, like normal Venom does. Can do like some Mr. Fantastic stuff by stretching his arm. Extends a tentacle, webs Gargan up with his hands because he can. He can use his symbiote as like literal projectiles. He can make a shield to block bullets. He can impale people with his tongue as well, and even his tentacles. He can even pick a lot with his tentacles, trying to be sneaky. Over here disguising himself as one of Osborn's staff members. Disguises himself as a homeless man as well. He even escaped a group of enemies by mimicking them. I think people underestimate Symbiotes' regeneration. Like, he literally got his head splattered, like the literal Eddie Brock guts coming out. But as you can see, he's freaking fine. I mean, he regenerated after being infected by a particular poison, like a super toxin, implying thousands of people could have died from this super toxin. Battlefield, Mr. Negative himself, they stated, but I can heal shotgun wounds in seconds. Last panel I just showed you him getting stabbed. He was able to heal that wound relatively quick. Stated that he could heal Spider-Man's wounds or cuts for him. He states, I could heal you. No, thank you. My weapon's doing a nice job. So he can identify diseases now with saliva. He cleanses heroin from a woman's veins, by the way. I already talked about this earlier with the fight with Matt Gargan Venom. In a slugfest, Spider-Man joins in.
As you can see, they fight some more. Wait, they put Spider-Man so they can slug it out on their own. Scraps it out, tossed that car already, extended fashion. Other folk trying to get involved, but they're not having it. This part I showed earlier about the giant fist, working together, drains them, weakens them, and that's how you got the W there. Anti-Venom has also gotten a battle with Agent Venom, basically a Spider-Man tier super soldier. Oh my gosh, the government actually tried to make a super soldier spider being and succeeded, Flash Thompson. They fight out in this occasion, slugfest going through the window. Tries to drain him of his disease, he says, sickness, I'm the cure. But it's not as easy as it seems to just cure him. He's fighting back. The agent operative, he can make claws, symbiotic things as well. Does that. And that kind of went left. Yeah, symbiotes that be getting on Eddie be wanting to bond with Eddie. States here, we are returned. I know this isn't necessarily anti-venom, but this is what Spider-Man had to say just about normal Venom. It states that Venom has all my powers and more muscle. So it's like him 2.0. Oh yeah, and by the way, there was an agent anti-venom, but that might be a topic for another discussion. During the events of Knull, they was trying to make some like battle suit that was immune to the Knull creature's mental command. Here you can get an example of it here. Like it's literally wearable battle armor combined with other stuff. Tell me that ain't epic. Don't lie. Respect it. I would say slightly above his standard self, but the main thing that makes him a threat is his negation powers ability to be able to cleanse things, thanks to being similar to Mr. Negative. There's this being known as Toxin, who's basically the offspring of the famous symbiote known as Carnage, and is the 1000th generation of its line. Something that you probably don't know is that this fact alone makes Toxin far, far stronger than any of his ancestors, with an unfortunate disposition towards madness. It even states here, by the 1000th generation, the chances for psychotic breakdown are great, unless the grandparent can educate the child in the ancient way of symbiote. You guys already know the deal about symbiotes, right? They are an alien race that combine physically and mentally with members of another species to amplify their host's physical power and give them a number of other useful abilities and etc. An example would be as the human that Toxin bonds to is very important to its sanity. Thankfully, the very first human that Toxin encountered was a sane, responsible police officer named Pat Mulligan. You're probably wondering who that is. I'm going to go over his feats in this video as well. Pat used Toxin to help fight crime, both natural and supernatural, but he was eventually killed by the demon Blackheart. He was stolen, used as a component for a ritual intended to bring hell to Earth. It was then recovered by Eddie Brock, you know, the former host for Venom. I've done videos on as well. There was a time where Eddie was actually trying to hunt down and get rid of Symbiote, but once the symbiote bonded with him, oh yeah, they had an altercation with new agent Venom. Yeah, imagine Eddie Brock working as an FBI agent. But you guys know the saying goes, old habits are not far behind. So when he fused with Toxin, he ended up working with Toxin just as closely as he did the original Venom. But before I go to Eddie Brock stuff, let me go over Patrick Mulligan's first. But before I even get to either of them, as Patrick, the symbiote known as Toxin is powerful, but due to the fact that him and Toxin have internal disagreements, he's only able to access maybe a fraction of Toxin's power. Still, even that, transform, he still can dodge bullets, catch a falling baby, reflexes. He can easily dodge attacks from Carnage. He's physically above characters like Black Cat and Raw, strength, stopping kicks from her and everything, etc. He's able to combat Spider-Man fast enough to catch Spider-Man off guard. Spider-Man has crazy combat speed and spider sense, so that's pretty fast of him. He's literally this close to a train, but his reflex is able to react before he gets hit by the train. I mean, there was one time with Razor Fist, he just smashed him out of the window, transformed instantaneously. One could say power up. He can do shapeshifting, see the little claws in his arm. Oh, by the way, Razor Fist claw can't and will not harm him, by the way. Just durability gives you an idea of his level of power. And of course, automatic gunfire bounces off of him. Battle feats are everything when it comes to fighting other symbiotes. He was like literally able to overpower, some would say the strongest symbiote, or some would call it. No, there's a lot of powerful symbiotes, like, you know, Anti-Venom can go into debate or whatever. He kind of overpowered Carnage. Toxin's that strong. When it comes to bank stuff, like I literally showed you them bullets bouncing off of him. He goes through the floor. He literally smashed through the floor of a bank and then attacks enemies by smashing the floor in their direction. Isn't that impressive? Does this to King Cobra, smashes the wall behind him. Does the same thing to the floor of an apartment. The Agile can jump to the side of buildings, stick on walls, you know, the spider type stuff. He literally threw Carnage, like in a battlefield, across the city. It's like he made him into a stream. That's how hard he was able to sling him around. Let that sink in. When it comes to the Wrecking Crew, Toxin's so powerful they even take them out.
taking out one of the members of the Wrecking Crew. I swear, I would do a video about the Wrecking Crew, man, but Marvel does not know what power ranges they want these guys at. I mean, in the past, he's taken on characters like Iron Man, the Wrecker, so that just gives you an idea of why doing this to beings like this is impressive. He can easily take down Razor Fist, might I add, by the way, like you're subdued. This dude Toxin fought Venom and Carnage at the same dang time. And this isn't even Eddie Brock yet. Yep, you are looking at this correctly. Just like other symbiotes, he has stretching ability and shapeshifting. That's just common stuff that I've shown in my other previous symbiote vids. He has like some sort of tracking ability that lets him track people by the proximity. But enough of that stuff. Let's jump right to the Eddie Brock feats as Toxin. Let's go. Toxin and Eddie are so bonded together that they nearly act as one. They kind of act different the way Patrick did. Because let's face it, Eddie's more of a main type of character. Let's face it. Naturally, Eddie as Toxin is able to fight other symbiotic type characters like Agent Venom, blitzing him here with Tendril. You can transform on the spot to save folk from rubble that quick, throws them there. That one time move the woman out of the way of an explosion real quick. He can make different limbs of himself if he has to. The stretching, shape-shifting stuff. He took on a whole horde of lizard people. Cool battle feat, fighting multiple folk, getting stabbed here. Doesn't really matter. I mean, think about it. I already showed you how Venom type characters can heal the host and even regenerate. And their regeneration is underrated. He's gotten a fight with Agent Venom, kind of overpowered. Agent Venom, even though they had like a little slug type of fez, lifting up cars, strength, slams it on top of him, explosion. Shockwaves rip cars in half with his strength. Gunfire doesn't really do too much, can regenerate on the spot. Symbiote type characters. Making blades from Toxin, stretching his arm, can multitask, grab different folks with his tendrils while he's doing something else, even though he's behind him here. You got to respect it, even got his arm cut off, impales him here. Toxin is no joke, appears to grow in size if he needs to be more intimidating. He was able to completely destroy mega tech like this. This might be one of his most impressive feats because in the past this guy has fought evenly with Thor. Oh my goodness, these writers did not know how strong these guys are. Like, you know what? Yeah, but yeah. Toxin's able to tear open the metal door, able to restrain man, wolf, gots to respect it. He lifted tons of falling rocks and lifts the people up to help him in the process. Durability-wise, bullets do not hurt him. Of course, he has regeneration, gets impaled by a cyborg, but you already know symbiotes have insane healing factors, right? He takes a hit from a group of clone Carnages. Like, bruh, that's a lot. It made it seem like they was actually doing significant damage to him, but it was all just an act. Those guys are cannon fodder. They're puppets. I like the sound when they squish. Like, look at all this many. Heck is going on, get off of me. There's one time he even teamed up with Agent Venom. Awesome symbiotic crossovers. Respect it. Y'all trying to chop me up. I regenerate, bite your head. Y'all get slammed, working together with Venom. Agent Venom and him working together. Characters like Agent Venom describe him as 10 feet tall, but it's implied he can change his size because in this example, he's definitely much taller than 10 feet like compared to these normal humans. Toxin by itself is pretty strong. Agent Venom even said it right here, even stronger than me. Like the time Agent Venom exploited his weakness to fire, but yet he still was able to survive. Chop. Slicing as such. He had to retrieve Eddie process, right? And he's also fought Venom before. I'm talking about Toxin by itself without Eddie Brock, aka they're better with host, but he was able to survive attacks from him because he's kind of liquidy, so, you know. Being a symbiotic type character and being one of those characters where he didn't stay like this long, he doesn't have many showings, but his showings are pretty concrete that he's a pretty decent gap, stronger than the average symbiotes, like even Carnage and even some of the best symbiotes out there. This is impressive because Spider-Man type characters can lift 60 plus tons with ease and even have shown to have occasions of lifting over hundreds of tons, even though these two pictures I'm showing you right here aren't necessarily hundreds of tons or nothing. But, you know, my Spider-Man videos can help you understand why these characters are so strong because of his fights with Spider-Man in the past. Whatever Venom can do, normally this version of him can do better. So you got to look at my other Venom videos from the past to really get an idea of how strong he is as well, like this. Not to mention that his battle feats imply a writer intent for where they want him to be. Writer intent is everything. Toxin has feats of overpowering Agent Venom, casually overpowering Carnage, like casually. Without transforming, he can overpower characters like Black Cat, who are super soldier-ish. Venom and Carnage simultaneously. So he pretty much proved why he is on a certain level of power. It's not an exaggeration that he was the king of these symbiotes, basically.
And it's not an exaggeration that he's the top dog of these symbiotes, even above Venom and Carnage. Remember what Spider-Man literally said out of his own mouth about normal Venom. This Toxin is above normal Venom. That was evident when he overpowered Agent Venom, right? He stayed here. Venom has all of my powers and more muscle, like I showed in the past. There was this one comic where he got involved with a character like Malekith. Yeah, I'm going back to what I mentioned at the very beginning of the video about this so-called magic Venom with the Dreamstone amp type of thing, weapon he desires type of thing. This is kind of relatively new content, War of the Realms type stuff. You know, see Venom using the sword, you get it, epic. They explained it here. That's how he became like this different looking Venom. That's why it looks different. This a Dreamstone, quite rare and highly prized, he stated. They give life to dreams, to desires, to fears. This one, of course, has been attuned to a specific purpose, weapons. It states it literally knows the weapon that you want and you shall have it. Take the stone and you will receive it. He said, well, this is different, the same, but different. Like he looks all different with all these spikes in him, you know, looking magical. You know what I'm saying? Seems to still be able to web sling and all that fun stuff. In this state, he still can do like the similar stuff, like making extra tendrils, fighting these bigger beings, like literally ripped his head off with one of his strikes. Implied to be able to blitz, chopping heads off like that because of this Dreamstone. Yep, 60 ton tanks he lifts up even in newer stuff. That's over 10 tons, guys. He can slam it with ease. Uses this axe and then shows his striking power by slicing this tank in half. Is that strength or what? The suit can still react to him, even in this occasion, like the fact that he caught the arrows mid-flight with tendrils, then shoots it back. Yikes, he's dead. He's even took attacks from Jack-O-Lantern. Fought characters like the Jack-O-Lantern in a full-blown fight. It states more lore about this symbiote. This is not really the real symbiote. It literally is an elven artifact that gave himself the suit of his dreams. So basically Venom again, you know. More minion folks get sliced because I'm Venom. Heck, this Venom even encountered frost giants for Pete's sake. This magical Venom that he's bestowed with, it even shows his past stuff. It says, you can feel the magic surging through him, through the bones, plumbing my psyche, my memories for whatever it was that made Venom Venom. And I feel it, not just the magic stretching, my frame breaking and healing my bones 1,000 times over in a second. All the pain, the hate, jealousy, humiliation, betrayal, that'll work. It's like he's kind of getting powered up in the middle of the fight here. Heck, he even grew in size. Head slice, vice grip, stabs him from the back, making like literally sharp objects from his back. Can just make himself have a whole bunch of limbs. Hammett's too much fun, and Jack-O-Lantern still fighting him more. He still has all his weaknesses from the other Venom suit, even though he technically doesn't have the suit on right here. Even though he's technically magical, he's hurt from fire, and the suit is even evolved thanks to his mind to heal, and then gave himself as Guardian armor to help him even further. Like, look at this. Jack-O-Lantern was kind of going crazy. He was about to turn the entire city into ash. Just to let you know of the threat that Venom was fighting here. See how the axe looked normal here? It seemed like he can amp it magically, like that. New suit, a witch's gift. You know, but Jack's amp too. I like seeing Venom use axes. Seems to be okay after being stabbed against Jack-O-Lantern in the battlefield. Them two fighting it out. Fight keeps escalating even more. Just when you thought the stages of him powering up was over, it gets even worse. Yep. In this new state of power, he can even share it thanks to the Dreamstone being able to do whatever your imagination wills it to be, because he wanted to save all these people from getting burned into ash thanks to Jack-O-Lantern burning up everything. So that's when he did that. He didn't want to lose that much life, so he said, I'm just going to use the Dreamstone to make everyone get protected in a suit of armor. All the citizens were protected with durability that helps them be able to survive. They even state, we are Venom. With this new magical Venom Dreamstone, he was able to overpower him at the end of the day. What it seems to be a lightning bolt. Dreamstone gets casted out of him, and that settles that. Get freaking murked. Thanks to this Dreamstone, Venom had like 3 different new modes in this magical Dreamstone personified state. It started off like this, and then it evolved to this, and then it evolved to this, so he can protect the people from Jack-O-Lantern, and then shared this same power to protect the civilians. With this, we are Venom. Isn't that epic? All because of this Dreamstone. During the Absolute Carnage event, you see some more madness from Venom. Carnage got like so powered up to the point where he was like considered on some powerhouse stuff because he had like amplifications from Knull himself, the actual god of symbiotes. That's why Carnage was so powered up. So Venom had to rise to the occasion to even be able to stand a chance with him. It even explains here that Venom is Legion. Like one could say this is Venom, form of Venom could be called Venom Legion. An amalgamation of dozens of hosts, symbiotes, and voices, all of them screaming. So he's kind of like a fusion. This is why he's so powerful. Heck, even being able to fight Absolute Carnage himself in a slugfest style fight. Blow for blow, mano a mano, what he did to Absolute Carnage, by creating his own weapon just like that, a sword that caused all that damage to Absolute Carnage, as you can see, which is insane. So right here, Eddie was pretty high up there in the tiers. This is the famous panel I'm talking about when Venom got super strong. They even state it's basically he fuses. It's like a fusion. The codices, voices of former hosts, Captain America's voice barking orders and war strategies, Wolverine's rage ignites my blood in ancient fire, I see through Hawkeye's diamond scalpel eyes, Thing's ungodly strength turning my muscles to stone. That pretty much confirms that he's in the Thing level, and if you don't know how strong the Thing is, check out my other Thing video. He's got ungodly strength. There's a reason why the comic described the Thing's ungodly strength turning my muscles into stone like this. Makes sense on why Venom was able to slugfest with some absolute carnage, his final state. The same state that messed up Venom Hulk, like, you know, Bruce Banner Hulk. Yes, when the Hulk had a symbiote on him, he actually fought Absolute Carnage. Even though Hulk had that godlike strength, Absolute Carnage was still able to get the advantage of him and get the symbiote off of him, even to get the advantage over the fight. And Venom was able to fight a version of Carnage that's even stronger than this version because it sucked up the symbiote that was on Banner at the time. So Carnage was already a Hulk tier, and then he had this symbiote added on top of it, and Venom fought this version of Carnage, which is even stronger than the one that fought a Hulk tier. Keep in mind that the Thing was in these fights as well. This was a crucial scan right here. Absolute Carnage even took over Carol's cat one time, you know, Captain Marvel. Symbiote was on her cat, and then the symbiote tried to eat her. She tried to rip it off just by pulling it with her raw strength. She even mentioned how she did this before when it comes to Venom Matt Gargan, but she can't do it this time, showing that he's on a totally new level of power. See what I mean? How she got sucked in, showing Absolute Carnage's power to that degree. You gotta respect it. Yeah, this Carnage event was crazy, man. And this is the same Carnage that Venom fought in this new state. This is Venom's most famous state, right? But these forms I just told you about are ridiculous. Like magically empowered Venom because of the Dreamstone, and then he got powered up even more by the Dreamstone, then he got powered up even more by the Dreamstone like I already showed you, but then he got this other power up known as Legion Venom, which was strong enough to fight Absolute Carnage, a being that gave Captain Marvel and even Hulk tier characters in strength trouble, thanks to Knull, of course, making himself have the Thing levels of strength. But what if I told you this is not even his strongest power? What if I told you he actually surpassed our favorite hero, and one could say even became like near them abstract tiers or even surpassing Skyfather levels of power? Which time am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about when Venom fused with the uni power, but one could say the only reason he was able to match Knull is because Knull had a weakness to light or something. So, but then again, why didn't he lose to characters like Sentry? You know, it's the uni power must be like a specific weakness to him. When Venom fused with the uni power, becoming Captain Universe, it even states here the God of Light, the Enigma Force. But then again, part of me wants to say that he's just that freaking strong to be able to fight him, and it's not necessarily Knull's weakness to light isn't necessarily kryptonite. It could be that Venom is just that powerful thanks to the Captain Universe amp. I mean, think about it. He did end up getting Silver Surfer's weapon, or even Mjolnir, for example, like Silver Surfer's. You see him taking them both, like literally having both. Not only that, he grabs these two weapons and even fuses them together to make an even ultimate weapon. He was literally stated to be wielding a battle axe made out of Surfer's board and Thor's hammer, and he can fly. He's just powered up. Venom takes down these overpowered minions that give Powerhouses issues. Even goes as far as saying no more swords, no more dragons, as the heroes are helping him fight him, of course, protecting the innocent. Him and Knull go at it. Of course, a symbiote had to take on the God of Symbiotes in this occasion via temporary power-ups. You gotta love it. Knull had a Celestial under his control like this, and the Celestial that Knull was controlling tried to attack Venom in this new state, and Venom used his battle axe with Mjolnir, of course being amped with the Captain Universe power, slices this Celestial's head off, showing Venom he's just powered up. Manhandles Knull, the same guy that decapitated Celestials in the past. Knull should be in the Skyfather ranges or even higher to them abstract ranges. Venom stabs this into him. Regardless on how you look at it, Venom is powered up more than ever before. Takes him to the Sun battlefield, removes him after Knull had already been weakened, disintegrates him in the process. Also, it's worth mentioning it's implied to be faster than light, being this fast he can fly to the sun and back to Earth. You know, basically an overview of all of what he's done. Defeated Absolute Carnage, got powered up by the uni power, Silver Surfer's board, and Mjolnir was at hand, made a battle axe out of it, overpowered Knull, decapitated Celestial, defeated Knull, and it doesn't stop there, guys. When he defeated Knull, I gained his power, he stated. I became the hive-minded self, able to pilot symbiotes across the galaxy. They speak through me and I through them. Oh man. Let me try to organize Venom in his modes the best I can. The main one, which is all the way to the left, the most popular one. Then after that one, that's Anti-Venom, which is like Venom on crack with more power and being able to cure. Toxin, even more overpowered one, even above Carnage in raw power. He is magically imbued with the Dreamstone, which is not really technically a symbiote right here, thanks to Malekith and stuff. And then the one all the way on the end is a temporary power-up, something he cannot access at any time. He's confirmed to be in the thing levels of power, confirming it even more in the video. He fought a being that just got done fighting the Hulk Venom, so it just kind of confirms that. And even giving characters like Captain Marvel issues. The powerhouse characters on the planet had trouble with absolute carnage, and it was implied that they needed Venom's help in this powered-up state to even do so. This Venom that's dubbed Legion Venom, pretty amped up. And that's not even the end of all of this madness, guys. That honor goes to the Uni-Power Venom, or some can call him God of Light Venom, the one that fought Knull himself, a being that ripped Sentry in half, literally decapitated a Celestial like I showed in this vid, overpowered Knull, and destroyed in a complete duplicate of the Necro Sword. It's pretty evident that Venom has had his overpowered moment. Legion Venom is basically on par with our favorite heroes like Hulk, Thor, and etc. Power and raw power-wise, at least in power. And then he even surpasses them with the Uni-Power Venom. But like, of course, these two things are not things that he's at all the time. Like, don't be going to random discussions saying, oh, Venom is stronger than Hulk. Well, no, base Venom isn't stronger than Hulk. These are like temporary power-ups that happen for this particular story, and he don't have them no more. Like, you know, it's like a temporary power-up for a reason, because if Venom was always like this, they would have to rewrite all his main stories and make him fight like planet buster threats all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was pretty close to dang near abstract as the Uni-Power. But you didn't know about that magical form he got from Malekith and stuff, but that's none of my business. But even without any power-ups for a second, let's rewind right quick. Put some respect on the main forms of Venom's power right quick, because this is the form that's his most popular, and this is what he normally is most of the comics lore, right? Even without all them crazy, annoyingly overpowered power-ups, he's still a cool threat. He is no slouch in fighting other symbiote tier characters like Spider-Man possessed with a symbiote from an alternate reality, for example. Even if he's armored up, he's still able to smash him against the wall with his raw strength, showing that just because you have the symbiote suit doesn't mean you automatically are above him. He's fought Spider-Woman before, eating blows from these spider-type characters. Something very common, wouldn't you admit? Oh yeah, he still lifts weights, by the way. This guy Venom in his base even had Sandman running for the hills. Like, Sandman is one of the strongest spider villains, I would say. Like a being that can like really jump tiers if he absorbed enough sand, but he had him running for the hills, losing too much mass, thanks to Venom fighting Spider-Man on this occasion. Regardless of how you look at it, you still should put respect on his name. Long before he ever acquired powers, this guy that's normally known to bind it with the Carnage symbiote, Cletus Cassidy was a deranged serial killer who murdered because he could. Like, he was just a dark person. Grew up in a foster home after his father killed his mother. Yeah, it's not a good example. That's why people like this go insane. Need to have a good family figure. Then he was sentenced to death on Cletus' testimony. He had terrible abuse in his life. His first act of murder, he burned down his orphanage and killed one of the staff. This dude is just dark. He ended up doing other murders in his life, ended up in jail, he ended up sharing a cell with Eddie Brock himself. At the time, he was separated from Venom. Eddie's symbiote came to literal prison to get him out, but unknowingly, nobody knew, the Venom symbiote left a larva there. Then that bonded with Cletus Cassidy. You see where that went. He became the monster known as Carnage. Using his raw power or newfound power, he escaped prison with ease, went on a series of mass killing, often battling Spider-Man and other heroes, and etc.
Dinner time.
Being a symbiote tier character, he should have strength like Venom, or a lot of people even say he's the greatest of them all, besides Toxin, of course. Whatever the feats that Venom can do, Carnage should be able to do better when it comes to raw strength, because we know Venom can lift hundreds of tons, just like in my Venom videos. The only reason Toxin even surpasses Carnage is because it's a spawn of him. You know, you're going to see a lot of Venom and Carnage and Spider-Man in this vid, strong enough to sling Venom to the ground, like going through stuff. Strong enough to smash through a wall of special glass. Oh yeah, making tendrils and blades and bullets bouncing off. Strong enough to lift and throw helicopters. Of course he can do that. Obviously he can lift cars. That would be crazy if he couldn't, and Spider-Man can. He's gotten a scuffle with Power Man. One tendril, like little pieces of him, like little, yeah, not even his actual muscle. Just picking people up. He got in an occasion with Deadpool, rips him out of this construction vehicle, slings him that far. That one time he fought Wolverine, he literally bit through his bone claws. Let that sink in. Going through an office building, smashed his way through the walls of it. Raw strength. And he also pulled his way out of Cloak's dimension. This one time Cloak tried to, you know, kind of do some battlefield removal. Strong enough to rip sinks out the floor and hurl it in the process. killing Doppelganger with a kick, just straight violent, just destroying civilians. Marble Wall gets destroyed. You're gonna see this be a pattern, overpowering Venom. Battle Feat 2 lifts desk and hurls it out the window, tendrils, and tearing apart a roof of the car is nothing, slice. Strong enough to smash up a street, literally tearing a reinforced door off the hinges. Oh, how you doing? And there's plenty of occasions of him battling Spider-Man, slings Spider-Man with his literal face. He even pulled a security guard through the bars of his cell. He's gotten a battle feat with characters like Nightcrawler. Heck, he even knocked out Nightcrawler, like Sleepy Time, consistently smashing folk through the prison walls. He's even gotten a battle feat with Superior Spider-Man, sends him flying. Yum. Rips the bars off a prison cell. Raw steel isn't enough. Smashes Venom through, another battle feat with Venom through a wall. He can just pick up cars overhead. Tears out an adamantium sentinel's eye, ripping sentinels apart. Just smashing through the walls of prisons is light work to him. Look at them big old blades he can make. Smash through his reinforced wall. Look, just does all that damage. This guy in the battlefield with Spider-Man threw an oven at Spider-Man. Are you kidding? You ever heard of the quote of Carnage is stronger than Spider-Man and Venom are put together? Well, this occasion he fought Spider-Man and Venom. Get off of me. Y'all remember that time he hurled a man through a window all the way across the street? I mean, think about it. He smashed a guard through an armored truck. Stretching ability. Even when he's partially transformed, he still can produce superhuman strength because it's still a part of him. I don't know how he was able to do this, but yeah, Magneto, you got to make sure your shield is up because he can hurt you with your shields down. Able to draw blood from Magneto on this occasion. Look how far he can jump out of water. Carrying a woman, jumps out of a falling bus. He literally ripped the bloodstone out of Man-Wolf this one time. I mean, he swung between buildings while carrying Venom at the same time. It's just like he doesn't have to actually grab you with his hands to really, get a hold of you. Kind of reminds me of some Martian Manhunter type stuff. And in this occasion, slung Venom across the city. When it comes to raw speed, he can, swing across the city similar to Spider-Man. To get an idea of his maximum fighting speed or potential, you gotta look at the characters that he's fighting against, like Spider-Man tiers. They have ridiculous fighting speed, by the way. For example, Nova was flying towards him, like Kid Nova, of course, and he was able to react to him like that. There's this one time where Carnage got advantage jumped on him, like these beings attacked Carnage with magical weapons. He purposely doesn't dodge because he thinks he can just tank them, but he not knowing that they bind him on sight. But when he got a rematch, he disarmed all of them before they can even, he disarmed all of them without touching their weapons, so he learned his lesson. And when I say disarmed, like he literally takes off their hands, yeah. It states here, magical weapons aren't much use if you got no way to hold them. I mean, of course, they're cannon fodder, but he was able to tear apart these goons before they can react. They're too slow, violent. He's fast enough to compete with fighting speed of characters like Spider-Man. Remember, has reacted or fought things moving at the speed of light, like dodging lasers. It even states in this particular panel I'm showing you, I've got the speed of light on my side, and Carnage can fight on par with Spider-Man when it comes to fighting speed, and Spider-Man has trouble avoiding his attacks with this fighting speed. That says a lot about how fast Carnage can strike. Like, yeah, he can, like, basically he would be looking like this, like a blur if he was to fight you. He deflects hits from Deadpool, shoots back, bullets, like his own little bullets here. Kills guards before they can react, blitzes a guard of soldiers through a vent or a pipe. Even Deadpool had trouble reacting to him, like does this to Deadpool before he can do anything. Feat with Venom, catches his blow, then does this to his arm. He evades Firestar's beam, backflips over a speeding car. It's like a form of agility, fighting speed, reaction time. I mean, heck, he even avoided Sonic Blast before. Trying to come up from behind, sneak attack, and get out my way with a tendril. I mean, when it comes to durability, he took hits from missiles without getting splatted. Spider-Man, as strong as he is, gave him his hardest punch, and he literally laughed. He even stated, with a Sunday punch that's got everything I've got behind it. And then Carnage literally said, is that all? Is that the best you can do? That is so pathetic. There's a significant gap between him and Spider-Man in raw strength. Even gotten hit by Kane, battle feat, can withstand thousands of volts of electricity without dying. Even in recent-ish type of stuff, he's gotten in scuffles with Toxin. He got overpowered here, though, and got slung really freaking far. Of course, bullets bounce off of him. Durability, literally, bullets are not doing it. Like, he can go through machine gun fire, even withstand Spider-Woman's bioelectric blast. Gotta respect his durability because all his fights with Venom, of course. Got in a fight with Scarlet Spider-Man, and it seemed like he couldn't do too much to him. Battle feat showing where Carnage stands when it comes to spider people, tendrils. As you can see here, he says more, come on, like it ain't nothing. And he's still holding his ground against spider folk. smiling. Definitely not on the tier with characters like Sentry, but he survived being slammed through multiple floors of the raft, an extremely super durable super prison that's made for superpowered beings. And yeah, he got overpowered. Yeah, but he got ripped in half. But even though he got ripped in half, his symbiote actually kept him alive in space, even though he was ripped in half. Regeneration? Oh, let me get to the regeneration. People really sleep on the symbiotic beings as regeneration. It's kind of like on some Deadpool stuff, like his head literally exploded, but yet it literally reformed. Right, with Agent Venom, there was a time his head even got cut off. That's right, but it did not slow him down. Carnage symbiote is in his bloodstream, meaning that he can reform it from a single drop of blood, like completely. Can reform it just from a single scratch. Respect it. Stabs you. If I didn't know any better, I would mistake this dude for Mr. Fantastic. The length he can stretch. Oh, hold on. He was able to stretch throughout the entire city to scan for folks. Not only can he shoot out this many little tendrils, but he can also transfer his actual body through these tendrils at super fast speeds. Well, what's the point of web slinging, right? Like, he literally just changed locations just like that. He can web up folk just like Spider-Man does. He makes all kind of weapons with his stuff, like spears, making his arms into axes, claws, slice and dice. The symbiote can alter his clothes, not transform to look normal. I mean, he was able to trap Spider-Man like in a cage, smothered a huge bomb with his body, extends like a spike through his chest, splits his arm into two large blades, like cat too. Swings a blade from his chest. Like, it's like you don't know where the combat's going to come from. Multiple spikes coming out of his body at the same time, impaling. Another occasion of huge claws. Sweeps through vents and air ducts. Liquidy. Grabs a man's gun like this, stretchy arm. He can make people shoot themselves by like pulling it like that. Brings down a freaking helicopter. Look at him twisting up the gears. Kills a man with a spike to his face. He can stretch his neck far like an eel. Massive blades after pouring through a pipe. His opponents were shrunk right here. Don't ask. But like he made his hand into like a mace with spikes. Agent Venom kills a man through a small hole. Can even form a parachute. Like these guys shouldn't even web sling. They should just glide or make wings. Seeps through a wooden wall. He envelops people while restrained. Just envelops them like this is gross. Holy crap, this guy sounds invincible. Well, he might just be, no, I'm just kidding. He ain't invincible. But he's dang near close because, I mean, he had a weakness at one point. Stuff that hurt him, but he kind of has way better resistance to sonic attacks and fire compared to other symbiotes. Newer Carnage stuff, it's kind of like he evolved completely. Like, it's that tier. Silence can't touch me anymore thanks to the dark hole. Kind of just got immune to it, just period. I mean, think about it. He fought Deadpool through a wall of fire. Will stand blast from microwave projectors. Fights Venom in a burning building. The symbiote itself survived an explosion from Claw, which itself is made of sound. He survived a hit in the face from Reed Richards' sonic gun. You know what I mean? Never forget that it has bonded with zoo animal. You know what? I'm done. The symbiote even grew to an immense size after absorbing a herd of cattle. And by the way, this is the symbiote by itself without Cletus Cassidy. It can run pretty fast by itself. I'm telling you, man, it should just do wings all the time. It like literally forms wings, kills a pair of superior Spider-Man's henchmen. Can we just address the elephant in the room? Cletus Cassidy without his symbiote. All right, what? It states here, I still have some of his strength though. So yeah, don't get too heavy. Poor police officers, y'all ain't ready. He has it all. Ranged attacks, omnidirectional attacks. Like he can throw some daggers, like a symbiote knife, axe, type of bow and arrow bullets, type of razor sharp thingies. And more occasions, Battlefield with Spider-Man. Look at this projectile. As you can see, Spider-Man has the block and omnidirectional just coming out of his chest like duh. Symbiotes have like some mind abilities, like being able to take control over people if it takes over, like a group of heroes. I mean, he injected his madness into his psychologist's mind before. How jacked up you be, Carnage? Think about Cletus Cassidy. The more powerful the being it possesses, the more stronger that character is. Like Carnage, for example, if he possessed like top tier beings like Silver Surfer, for example. Oh yeah, he has done that, by the way. Yeah, and this power level, he was definitely in the Thor tiers when he possessed the Silver Surfer, when he wasn't on Cletus Cassidy. Just straight madness. The Carnage Cosmic. He's became the Superior Carnage, Dr. Carl Malice, Spider Carnage, yep, Ben Reilly, the Wizard, Dr. Tanis Neves. It literally became its own symbiote later, though. Her own symbiote known as Scorn with technopathic powers, right? So he's had different hosts over the years. He has feats that make absolutely no sense, like being able to attack somebody through the freaking computer network. How in the heck does that even work? It's a digital. He came out the computer. Who wrote this mess? Because he did it again. Are you kidding me? Like nobody's safe. Venom does the same Are you freaking kidding me? Like this is ridiculous. They even mentioned this in another series. Through the Ethernet cable. You can go through the Ethernet cable and attack you through the freaking computer or the internet. How does that even work? Carnage, we know, has had his fair share of power-ups, like I just showed you about the Carnage symbiote getting on Silver Surfer, for example, but that's only one iteration of it. There was this being known as Knull, the god of the symbiotes event. There was this story known as Absolute Carnage. One could say this is his power-up. They called it Absolute Carnage, or some even call it Dark Carnage, where he was drawing in some power from Knull, the god of symbiotes himself, where he actually jumped way up there in the powerhouse tiers. It states here in the lore, Cletus Cassidy bonded with a godly symbiote known as Grendel, who was also created by Knull, by the way. In this new powered-up state, he fought a Hulk tier being, Hulk Venom fusion, basically, Venom Hulk. Venom Immortal Hulk, might I add. Not only did he get the advantage over him, but he ended up taking away the symbiote from the Hulk, combining this symbiote with himself while Bruce Banner is knocked out here, and becomes even stronger than he was before. Get punched back, freaking Captain America. Yeah, he's just really powered up right now. All that temporary power-up stuff aside, there's this one time Carnage even bonded with the Green Goblin. Spider-Man cured Norman Osborn of his Green Goblin serum induced insanity by injecting him with an antidote, but the cure also depowered Norman, and if there's one thing Norman will never stand for, it's losing power, so he found the one thing that could purge the antidote, the Carnage symbiote with his power and his insanity restored, and mixed with additional powers of Carnage symbiote, the Red Goblin was born, you know. Yeah, just think of the Green Goblin strength and Carnage put together. This isn't necessarily Cletus Cassidy at the exact second though, but you know, Carnage symbiote, you got the idea. He's become Poison Carnage before. Like, look at this design. Yeah, respect it. But that's just about want to do it, everybody. Just keep in mind that this is a temporary power-up and this isn't his normal power levels where he became like Hulkish tier. He was able to harm Hulk with his blows, Venom Hulk, you know what I'm saying? So he's pretty freaking strong like this. But in base, he's considered stronger than the standard symbiote tiers like Venom, normal Venom, stronger than him, stronger than Spider-Man. The gap isn't super mega astronomical, but it's definitely noticeable to a big degree to where he does have a strength advantage over Spider-Man. He even fought Venom and Spider-Man and overpowered him at the same time in the same video without being amped up by Knull or nothing like that. No absolute Carnage amps and stuff like that. With the absolute Carnage amp stuff like that, his fighting speed is insane. He's far above tiers like Daredevil, for example, and just food for thought. Carnage is much faster than people like Daredevil who have reflexes in the microsecond ranges. Proof of it here. Not to mention Daredevil has dodge attacks from Electro, lightning, stuff like that. So Carnage should have lightning plus level fighting speed, massively hypersonic, along with strength greater than Spider-Man and Venom when it comes to raw power in general. You know what I'm saying? Terrible sight in the alternate reality you don't want to see. Scorpion's already a Spider-Man tier. Seems like with the Venom symbiote, he would jump past the Spider-Man tier if we're being honest, logically speaking. But, you know, these type of things don't last forever or last long. And you guys guessed it, he has gotten involved with the symbiote and became Venom, Matt Gargan himself. He posed as Spider-Man. He's been with the Thunderbolts at one point. There was even a point he got the symbiote reactivated, lost it, got it reactivated in him, and it kind of had an effect to him. I was always wondering what would happen if I did my little spit take on somebody who already had a symbiote in him. Let's find out. Spreading symbiotic, all these symbiotic beings in this comic, of course. Then he became this scary looking Scorpion Venom hybrid thingy. Like, whoa, along with these other symbiotic beings. The symbiote literally took it upon himself to find Matt Gargan. I mean, he was about to put on the Scorpion suit, and that's when it took over, and that's how that happened. I've already made Venom videos about Eddie Brock in the past, so whatever he can do physically, logically, it should kind of transfer over, being a spider tier character, being able to lift over hundreds of tons, being able to move way faster than bullets, or even dodging, or having faster than lightning levels of combat or fighting speed. Space fan posing as Spider-Man, he just likes playing possum, and impaled him here. Notice how he's in the symbiote form, he still does Scorpion-like stuff, like using the Scorpion tail still. He's good at distracting Spider-Man by bringing up the feelings of Miss Marvel, how she had a crush on Spider-Man. This occasion with Spider-Man, Matt Gargan Venom can do this to a whole bunch of debris, and he likes to eat civilians. But psych, this turned out to be a bluff though, to draw out the scrolls. He literally states it's an act, he ain't gonna just kill. He didn't kill anybody. One could say symbiote beings have this stretching ability to make their limbs bigger. One can say the stretch or give themselves an advantage on the battlefield. He did make some gooey symbiote to choke Tiger Shark here. He made his arm wrap around Anti-Venom here. Literally strong enough to rip off someone's arm. Eats it so precisely that the armor he spits out is fleshless. He can make sharp blades erupt out of his body, make omnidirectional attack, spiky hand. He forced shield shoulders to kill each other. With his symbiote ability, he can mask heat signatures, sneak up on you, has his own weapon, call her the bootleg Scorpion, gives himself a second mouth, can wrap you up. He impales several scrolls just by extending his fingers or growing them.
His tongue alone is strong enough to throw grown behind men like Bullseye, and it can even stretch. He even got this hulked out mode where he gets big and massive looking. This guy threw corn dogs that killed normal humans. They don't kill Venom though. Freaking Bullseye can throw corn dogs and kill folks. Are you kidding me? He's fought a lot of beings, even was still being punched through several metal floors by scrolls, and he's good. Durability. He's in a swarm of bees and he's good. Instead, you can't sting him through that symbiote. He regenerates his tongue pretty quickly, gets ripped. Yike, and it seems to be here. Another occasion fighting Spider-Man, matching strength with Spider-Man. Spider-Woman did a venom blast in his mouth and doesn't seem to be too hurt. And by the way, gunfire ain't gonna cut it. The new Scorpion trying to fight Venom Gargan. He's literally chilling with a dog in his eye, and it's literally just an inconvenience thanks to Bullseye putting it there in the first place. This being known as American Eagle, he endured punches from beings that can cause this much power to the ground. Seems a little sleepy though, but gets back up. He even got kind of overpowered by Hercules here, which is okay because Hercules is a god of strength level character. Then he gets slammed to by Sentry, but he still manages to keep his grip on Hercules after all of this mess. Body can withstand going through building. Good healing factor, gets stabbed in the chest by the sword. He gets up angrier than before. Even Colossus punched him. He got back up. He hurt though. Multiple punches and kicks from Spider-Man. He, of course, can slug it out with Spider-Man and continuously fight back. He was getting whipped by Medusa's hair, getting hit by sonic attacks. He was still able to kind of push through the pain and fight back. As you can see here, Slugfest with Spider-Man yet again. Recovers from his back being slashed open. Withstands being speared or tackled by Hippo. Speaking of strength, Matt Gargan Venom punched his scroll, making him sleepy. Start off the eating Atlantean with little trouble. Destroys a whole bunch of low-tier Asgardians left and right. But these are Asgardians. They're like gods or something. I didn't really pay attention to the mission briefing. He can crush cars with his strength just by landing on it. He bit off Hippo's leg. His strikes can just demolish cars. This is a respectable feat, considering how strong Colossus is, having a hard time holding him back to some degree. He can pick up Hippo, by the way. I showed this scan of him getting tackled earlier. Don't forget the hippopotamus is going to weigh like a ton, or half a ton. He beats up Dakin and Bullseye. Spider tier kid is like Spider-Woman. He has no problem slamming down in a contest of strength. She seems like she can't just seemingly break out of his hold with ease. Putting her against the wall, knocks Bucky over. Obviously, he can lift cars in this scuffle with Anti-Venom. Manages to throw a car at Anti-Venom strength-wise. Beings that have super strength doesn't necessarily mean you have Venom tier super strength. Like characters like Jack Flag can't get out of Venom's grip. Notice his strength here on how he pins Spider-Man down here for a second. Wrestling with Spider-Man. See their arms locked with one another. Strength. But he did get punched off though. It's the cases of the matching strength with Spidey. His claws can easily pierce metal. Fought these shadow constructs and he was able to rip through them. Booyah. This massive hulking state. Look what he does to concrete. Say bye-bye to your helmet. Bursts through this metal door. And crushes concrete with his landing. How does this work? He rips through the Quinjet, right? It started eating through Songbird's sonic bubble. It's evident that his speed is competent because he's always able to tag Spider-Man characters despite Spider-Man have ridiculous fighting speed. Space Phantom, a being that copied the speed and strength of Spider-Man, it's stated, never seen anybody move like Spider-Man, but Venom comes close, letting you know the right intent there. Even though this isn't the real Spider-Man, this fake Spider-Man Space Phantom copied the stats of the real Spider-Man, you know? Just imagine for 2 seconds putting Captain America in a symbiote, trying to be like a super soldier symbiote type of thing, and this is what you get. There's this project known as Project Rebirth 2.0, the government's attempt to create a new super soldier based on Spider-Man's power, one even better than Captain America, obviously, because he's strong and Spider-Man is just strong in Captain America tier. They ended up succeeded. The guy known as Flash Thompson, former bully, war hero, #1 Spider-Man fan, he ended up bonding with a symbiote, becoming a U.S. military operative. At first, their symbiote was strictly controlled with drugs. Flash Thompson was not allowed to wear the suit for too long because of the danger and nature of it. However, the bond became pretty cool and their bond grew. He would end up defecting from the military after Project Rebirth 2.0 was shut down. This is when Venom and Flash developed their bond. This is different than the same. Some even debate if their partnership surpassed even Eddie's bond with each other. It's evidently been purified. He's more powerful than ever. He even went from being like a street type of hero, like not necessarily saying he's street level like Super Soldier tiers, but he's always been above Super Soldier tiers. But usually, you know, symbiotes or Spider-Man handle stuff in the street. Even is better prepared to handle cosmic threats. Ended up being Avenger and is most recently Cosmic Protector as one of the Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as a Space Knight in his own right. He's got all the standard abilities: strength, super speed, durability, regeneration, shapeshifting, changing his mask to give himself more punching power tendrils, webs, stuff like that, like other stuff Venom does. This is included to, but not limited to wall crawling, web shooting, agility. Like this picture literally sums it up for you. Lifting up a tank, you know, the standard stuff. So that's kind of like showing some feats here before we even get started. Like it's so cool seeing how Venom use guns and stuff and has marksmanship, but that's none of my business. It's like, do you really need your guns? You know what I'm saying? Agent Venom reporting for duty, but how strong is he? Let's get it. The casual stuff that Venom characters can do, he can lift church bells, lift and toss trucks, strength. He was a little bit more insane looking. No surprise he can lift tanks, lifting literally 60 tons and stuff. That's stuff that Spider-Man does all the time. Not to mention he's strong enough to hold a literally collapsing mine with his strength. Like you see the mine is falling and he's able to hold it up. The things that Venom can do, he can bust through walls. He can kick in metal doors. This is light work. Like he's really strong. He's gotten battle feats with characters like Captain America. By accident, he's so strong, he actually one-shot Captain America, like hit him too hard. Yeah, he's too strong. Human flies, wings get ripped off. Yep, as you can see, making these little blade tendrils. Like he be getting stuff done, popping necks. Striking power strong enough to create like these huge craters, looking bulky right here. Space Knight breaks through this giant metallic door with striking power. He has fought Kane before. He was able to daze Kane with a battle feat, make him a little dizzy. Venom was able to one-shot Blood Spider-Man, who has the same powers as Spider-Man. It states here, I fought Spider-Man and you aren't him. But he has fought the actual real Spider-Man, nearly knocking him out on this occasion. He's gotten in scuffles with Anti-Venom, even though Anti-Venom kind of got like a hacks to weaken folk. There's this giant Spider King, is a giant spider-powered Captain America, punched through the wall, strength. This same being can tank specialized shotgun shells, by the way. They meant to blow through 5 feet of steel, but yet Spider King was able to take this. There's this time Carnage was sonic weakened. You know how symbiotes get with loud noises and sonic. You know, got him on the ropes here. Does this in a battle feat against Carnage. Decapitates him in the process. He can do all the things normal Venom can do. He can destroy Spider-Man's jet with a couple hits. He's gotten entangled with Ironclad. Like, what the heck is happening here, yo? This dude be fighting Hulk, but that's none of my business. Just take this like a grain of salt. He just knocked him back, you know? Making this like implying he's hurting him. Implying. It's implied he can get in the Slugfest, was like one of the most powered up versions of Venom of all time. Toxin. Implied to be able to hurt him with his punching power. Seems to be like blood here, kind of, or slobber. Scuffle with Damien Hellstrom. Does this to a pile driver with a kick. Knocks down Blackheart. Like, what? I mean, this guy is a Hulk tier type of character. Venom is able to somehow draw blood from a Super Skrull with a punch during the Guardians of the Galaxy adventures, pulverizing folk just because he can. This same being that he's pulverizing, Mercuro has taken hits from Captain Marvel, a powerhouse tier. So what are they implying here about Venom? One of the reasons I don't take drawing blood feats too seriously, but like being able to do this to a Hulk tier is pretty impressive. Not trying to say he's a Hulk tier, but yo, why do artists be doing this with these drawing blood feats, man? That's why scaling comics is so hard, like I've said in my live streams before, because there's moments where it seems like these characters can fight Hulk tiers because drawing blood feats, sending them flying feats, stuff like that. But it does seem like he's well equipped or more enhanced than ever before, though. Inanimate object feats are pretty good to measure him, like he's able to rip open a tank hatch, got in a scuffle with Carnage, toss him away here, throws Spider-Man so hard he breaks like a whole bunch of trees in half. Are we just gonna ignore that he can fight Carnage this good? But that's none of my business. I'm going back to this battle feat with the Spider King, the giant spider-powered Captain America. Are we gonna ignore that he kind of overpowered him for a bit? Definitely a high-tier Spider-Man tier character. He literally used Spider-Man as a wrecking ball, causing major damage, showing that he's on Spider-Man's tier, showing, yeah, it's consistent. Like, look at all that damage they're causing just from their durability. Chilling with the Guardians and stuff. He tosses a Super Skrull so hard that it collides with a spaceship and destroys it. That level of power output. He was able to restrain this really strong being, this guy known as Yat-Tat, however you spell it, no grammar Nazi, please, the destroyer of destroyers. And by the way, Agent Venom is completely bulletproof. He's not necessarily trying to fight in this occasion with Spider-Man, but he's shown that he's in that Spider-Man tier. He's been able to slug it out with Spider-Man himself in combat. Another occasion fighting Spider-Man, panel for panel, slugfest style. Reacting to his fighting speed and everything. You're probably wondering why is this impressive? Well, don't forget about Spider-Man's fighting speed. Not only can Spider-Man fight fast, but he's really freaking strong. Like strong enough to pick up tanks, not only pick them up, but destroy them with his attack power. Never forget that Spider-Man has faced opponents that use lasers against him in fights. They even state here that at the speed of light is on my side. Spider-Man can still react and fight characters like this, even though they have tons and tons of lasers. You can see him dodging every single attack here, so fighting Spider-Man is impressive. Another occasion of him enduring punch from Spider-Man, but he's kind of giving him some punches work right here, though. Taking continuous blitz punches from Kane, and he's able to fight, react to him, stuff like that. Little scuffles aside, he even got like in a little scuffle with Valkyrie, getting hit out the window by her and everything, webbing her eyes. He even endured a hit from Thunderbolt. Carnage Power, Captain America, and The Thing hit him. The Thing. Venom takes a hit from Megatech, who apparently hits harder than Hulk. Okay, take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, it's just, whoa. Like, they're comparing these characters to Hulks, and he's got a lot of scuffles with these type characters. Scuffles versus full-blown battles is different, though, by the way. A full-blown battle will be like how Superman fights Doomsday, like for a very extended amount of time, and one can't take down the other. These are like little scuffles they have here, you know what I mean? Took a hit from freaking Red Hulk, even though he was drunk. Like, look how far he got sent flying. Another occasion of being hit by Red Hulk. But don't worry, symbiotes do have a weakness. They have a weakness to sonic and fire-based attacks. So fighting the Human Torch would not be advised. Despite this weakness, he's still able to survive intense heat, his space base detonating, while saving his girlfriend Valkyrie in the process. Yeah, he dated Valkyrie. Was able to endure all this heat. He has some insane endurance since this is known as his weakness. He's still able to survive attacks from Super Skrull flames. Like, they say it's a weakness, but it doesn't seem like an instant L, you know what I mean? It seems he's only slightly hurt from the heat from the atmospheric re-entry. Dude's durability is insane. How is this a weakness? He isn't even that hurt from Ghost Rider's Hellfire Chains or flamethrowers from Punisher and Elektra. You know what I mean? Like, bruh. Jack-O-Lantern's flame breath got in a scuffle with a battle feat. Jack-O-Lantern endures flame attacks from this Jack-O-Lantern. Whatever he lacks in durability, like the top tiers, I feel like he makes up for it in regeneration. Like, kind of how like Wolverine can face top tiers thanks to his claws and the fact that he can regenerate really fast, so it kind of keeps him in the fight longer. I feel like this applies for like symbiote type characters. Thanks to their regeneration, they have extreme resilience. Even if they are outmatched, their regeneration can keep them in the fight. Like how he survived a gamma bomb. He even recovered from a blast that one-shots Valkyrie faster than she can even recover. What? Acid webbing isn't necessarily a guaranteed win, and eating hundreds of sedatives won't take him out either. Hey, yeah, by the way, he can't survive in outer space. Symbiotes. It's like everybody talks about Deadpool and Wolverine's healing factor, but nobody talks about the symbiote's healing factor. Venom can literally heal from large cuts that are deep like that, and he's good. Pointing the gun at him later and everything. Like literally regrowing entire limbs. Guy even regenerated his head even after it got blown off, then spat the bullet out. He's gotten a scuffle with Gamora as well, even regenerated from attacks against Gamora, battle feat against Gamora as well. He heals from having his tongue cut off, and this occasion Kane, I know I keep going back to this battle, respect it. It's little stuff like this nobody notices. Fighting a superior being like Toxin, he was able to get impaled by him, and he heals from that. Imagine being a symbiote tier and you don't have fighting speed. Of course, Venom can dodge bullets on plenty of occasions. He's even fast enough to dodge lightning. This will make his fighting speed massively hypersonic, dodging X-rays lightning. Uses his own guns but dodges fire. This occasion dodging. Even deflects energy weapon back purposely with his chest. I mean, at one time he was getting shot bamboozled. He dodged the tank shell reaction. Dodges a point-blank shotgun blast. Look at that speed. I'm telling you, man, he be fighting some strong people. Like, he got in a scuffle with Valkyrie, dodges attacks from Valkyrie. Respect it. I remember Venom fought Kraven in a battle feat. Why is this impressive? Because it was literally stated faster than eyes track, a blur of motion. They're fighting, both of them are fighting faster than the eye can see, showing that even though you're not necessarily a symbiote character, you still can fight like crazy. It even states here, don't think, move on instinct. When he does fight super soldier tiers like Punisher and Elektra, he blitzed them with his tendrils, just contain them. I showed a little bit of this earlier, but I'm gonna show it a little bit more. Blitzes them. You know, in the fight with Captain America, punched him a little too hard here. He even speed blitzed Superior Spider-Man and his henchmen in a battle feat using the guns, accuracy, that type of thing. I never really got into shapeshifting, but Agent Venom can like literally shapeshift and change his color scheme if he has to. I mean, that one time he shapeshifted into a police officer, an old lady, into this lady, looked like a flag smasher. Yeah, he can shapeshift into that stuff. He even shapeshifted to appear dead, occasion with the, Ironclad in them, UFO. It was the smart thing to do because it was a tactical advantage. He shapeshifts to keep a low profile. Brett even shapeshifted into the Spider King. I didn't really get on that shapeshifting much when it comes to just combat stuff. He can make his own form separate from Flash if he has to. He can do cool stuff like literally merging Groot into his costume as well. Tell me that isn't awesome. I showed a little bit earlier. Create symbiote puppets to talk to. Honestly, why do they web sling? They can literally just create wings. Like, this is some Majin Buu type stuff. Literally creates a bowl. 5 aliens are inside of it. Enter the Venom Mobile. Yeah, Venom car. Don't ask. Of course, on this occasion, fighting Anti-Venom. Of course, battle feat, making blades in the process. It's kind of an occasion of shapeshifting. Gonna form like a giant hand. Creates a lockpick. This guy literally formed into a giant little ship himself. Like, this is funny. Let that sink in. Literally created a glider for himself. He can literally create weapons strong enough to hold up a church bell. He can use these tendrils to fire multiple guns at once to his advantage. This is the occasion I showed earlier of him dodging that tank shot. He can use his tendrils to attack multiple folk at the same time. He does it in this one occasion to wield multiple knives. Respect it. And his webbing is acid proof. You see him blocking acid attacks. Battle feat as well. His tendrils can operate even though he's not in there looking at the tank controls. Okay, what in the actual heck? He tagged like these henchmen with symbiote pieces, kind of like on some mind control them and tell them what to do, kind of like the symbiote takes possession of you type of thing. He is immune to Ghost Rider's penance stare, one of the coolest feats. Using spare parts stored in the symbiote, he was able to make a gun that fast. Look at that. Venom bites off Toxin's hand and cuts off his fingers. He has a big habit of becoming bigger and more intimidating when he's angry or larger or something. Like, respect it. One could say Venom is like Ultra Instinct because it instantly protects certain body parts to protect the host, even if he's not conscious of getting those parts of his body protected.
Honestly, Flash is actually a man of valor, man. Like, you can literally see how he thinks, especially in this scan right here. It states here, I sure as heck believe in my country. My name is Eugene Flash Thompson, corporal in the United States Army. Like, you see the tendrils there. My belief in her is why I'm here thousands of miles from home protecting the lives of strangers. During this particular occasion, his bonding time with the suit was limited, of course, right? Never forget that Flash Thompson gives his life saving Peter and his friends from the Red Goblin. In this particular, yeah, I know, Red Goblin. Pretty freaking crazy, right? Flash also got Medal of Honor, recommended for Medal of Honor for his service in Iraq. He was able to create a path through soldiers armed with anti-symbiotic tech. You gotta respect it. Respect his power as Agent Venom. Got that right. I mean, think about it. He became the greatest warrior in this like space arena. At one point, he was the most important U.S. operative. You see, he's a well-trained symbiotic type character. It states here, thank you, Avengers training. He's been through Avengers training, all that good stuff. Of course, he's an accomplished sniper. He can stealthily infiltrate enemy bases, things like that. He's even experienced with guerrilla tactics. Bro, the guy's well-trained. You can see the skills with his marksmanship, even with webbing situations, not necessarily shooting the guns. I mean, think about it. He casually shot down a room full of soldiers without getting tagged. Like, too many occasions of his marksmanship. He's good at improv, aka changing up strategies in the heat of battle and trying to figure out a way out of it even though they didn't plan for it. That awkward moment where Flash is like sparring with Valkyrie. Just a light work, cool sparring session. Respect it. That's what happens when you're well trained. And yeah, he can just regenerate. Getting his legs cut off is no big deal, by the way. And the cool thing is that he ends up even becoming Agent Anti-Venom, and he gets a whole new set of powers, still around the same range with the Spider family members, things of that sort, but better, right? When it comes to his gear, it's the same gear. Like, he has the multi-gun. It states here, this is the multi-gun, specially keyed to your DNA. It costs a lot, don't lose it. It's also a high-powered sniper. Yeah, it's like you can switch to different guns. It's literally the multi-gun. During the Kingdom Black event, everybody's talking about with the symbiotes, with Knull, all that good stuff. Flash was in this saga as well. One could say Agent Anti-Venom. By the way, he still uses guns, fighting speed, all that good stuff in his big symbiote war, stuff like that. Grenade, throws it. In this event, he even became like an anti-venom symbiote dragon. Like, whoa. It narrated here, Flash Thompson was a bully, then he was a soldier, then a superhero, and then he was dead. Now he's a dragon. It even states here in the lore that he is the new Anti-Venom. It granted him amazing new abilities and him toxic the symbiotes. That's why he's Anti-Venom. It stated here he has a new ability, Anti-Venom goo that can heal any wound. It's satisfying to see Flash and Spider-Man working together. Flash Thompson, they're fighting this giant symbiote being, impaling him with tendrils to cleanse him in, oh yeah, spikes. Yeah, he's that big. Literally cleansed them. Respect it. As far as we knew, the last Anti-Venom, when Eddie Brock had it, could do like the power negation. As far as we know, I don't think it has power negation. The cool thing about this one is that it can cleanse symbiotes out of folk, and it can also heal physical wounds, not necessarily symbiote related. It can also heal toxins, drugs, and etc. AKA when he said heal any wound. Implied that he can cleanse of poison. It shows here like him trying to cleanse folk. But that's just about do it, everybody. Respect Flash Thompson, Agent Venom, or even Agent Anti-Venom. Respect them. Do you like Agent Anti-Venom a lot? A super soldier mixed with Spider-Man tier strength and stuff like that?
with all that training and military stuff, it's pretty freaking cool. Definitely them Spider-Man tiers can lift over hundreds of tons. I've already shown that Spider-Man tier characters or symbiote can lift hundreds of tons. It's like a myth that they can only lift 10 tons based on the feats in this video. Well, lifting up a tank that weighs 60 tons with ease could more than likely do more. Even if you say he can't do more than 60 tons, a 60-ton tank is still more than 10 tons, like the so-called limit that people give him. Goblin once did the fusion technique with Carnage Symbiote, becoming more powerful than before, on top of him already being Spider-Man tier, becoming the Red freaking Goblin. He seems to have another set of abilities on top of this as well, becoming like one of the ultimate spider threats. But he's one-shot spider characters like Silk, I got a video on by the way. A Spider-Man tier character showing his strength. He has like Carnage bombs that will literally follow you fighting against spider people. It was even stated he's too strong for Spider-Man. He even states he doesn't set off my spider sense. He says he's too strong. He states you're outmatched, Parker, outsmarted, outgunned, and out of luck. He even says Spider-Man is still holding back though because of his morals. You know what I'm saying? Just to show you the damage of these homing bombs that Red Goblin does, one hit to the leg and it's pretty much done for from here, like literal cast and everything. Even if other characters got symbiotes, him with this Carnage symbiote is a lethal combination. Look at this. Just goes insane, just tries to kill everybody in the vicinity. One of the main things that is spider characters' weaknesses, or a villain sees it as a weakness, protecting people and stuff. So everybody in the vicinity is a potential obstacle for Spider-Man to have to overcome, which gives the bad guy an advantage to get the drop on him like I showed a second ago here, doing so all this destruction. Spider-Man busy trying to save people, and he's invisible to his spider sense, got the drop on him that way, using the people as a decoy to basically get the drop on him and overpower him. It's implied that he can shoot tiny parts of himself, right, into people that he can later activate from a distance to cause them severe pain later. Like he can be like, oh, let me just shoot you with this. I'm gonna get back to you later. And then you can be like 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm just gonna activate it, cause you suffering, even though I'm nowhere near you at that moment. But I shot a piece of you earlier and that's why I can hurt you now. He even states here, I left a few little pieces of myself, and at a moment of my choosing, in a snap, those little daggers will shoot up into their brains, right into their pain centers. One by one, like dominoes, Clash, Silk, Mary Jane, Aunt May, and Harry. They won't just die, Peter. They'll suffer all their final moments will be in freakish agony. This dude forever getting impaled like the Spider-Man movies and it's not affecting him. You gotta respect it. He even got hit so hard that he went through a couple skyscrapers. And he got back up from these crazy falls. One of the few people that can endure Miles Morales' Venom blasts, aka these electrical blasts, showing he's built different. Another spider character he's fighting. He even endured a repulsor blast from an Iron Man gauntlet, fighting Spider-Man yet again. And when it comes to energy projection, he seems to have like some fire projection from his mouth in this occasion. He get hit by attacks by Human Torch and Clash together. Clash has this much blast power. Yet he's taking both of these, but yet he is fine. He's even able to infect other people with symbiote. That's ridiculous. Even states here in his lore, Spidey's greatest enemy, Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, has merged with Spider-Man's most terrifying enemy, Carnage, becoming the Red Goblin. He even fought straight Venom in battle feats. You gotta respect it. Just like other symbiotes, he can shapeshift his hands into weapons like axes or stretching just in general. All that good stuff. We're not going to ignore how he was fighting Miles Morales and Silk, one-shotting her in the process, kind of soloing them all. Even Agent Anti-Venom tried to come in, gets tossed because he's trying to help his fellow colleague, attacks him there. Not even Agent Anti-Venom is safe against the Red Goblin. So this cover title is pretty freaking accurate, wouldn't you say? I would give him a slight strength advantage over the average spider person at this level, right? Without trying to wank him too much. So that he doesn't have the standard weaknesses of other symbiotes like fire and loud sonics or things like that. He's built resistances to stuff like that where it's just not like kryptonite to him no more. But as Red Goblin, he's a beast. But this is one of those things where I like to call it temporary power up. Yes, say it with me, temporary power up. Of course, he's not like this all the time. The majority of his time, he's Green Goblin. But you guys get the idea though. Which one did you like better, Green Goblin or Red Goblin? I'm interested to hear your thoughts below. Respect the Green Goblin. What's your favorite piece of gear for him though?
When you're even powered up by Knull by a little bit, you can jump tiers to the Hulkish ranges when the Hulk was bonded with a symbiote. Narrative-wise, actually like a threat to him in strength and power in general, Dark Carnage. Not his base form, however, but still ridiculous, right? Like, imagine a psychopathic being like Carnage being a planet buster effortlessly. I mean, that's how he was in the Dark Carnage state, but that's none of my business.
Oh boy, Knull, aka the god of symbiotes, god of a forgotten idea, god of the Forge, god host, lord of the abyss, or one could say even the void. He is older than the universe itself of his age. He is literally the god of symbiotes, and he is responsible for creating the symbiotes. He is the former leader of the symbiote Imperium. And he has been like terrorizing Marvel for quite a little bit now during a lot of Marvel's big events, and people have been wanting me to cover him for the longest. But how strong is he, man? This dude got a lot of stuff. And he's a top tier. Of course, being a god like being his extreme regeneration, being stabbed through the head and he regenerated from it. He has the power of creation. Usually I don't scale a character off the weapons they use because the weapons a lot of times in Marvel can do all the work or ignore durability. In Knull's case, he's the reason why the weapon is even that powerful, so you can actually scale how powerful he is to the weapons he create, like the all black. He already has like some universal-ish durability feats like surviving the freaking Big Bang. Donny Cates even stated that nothing can kill Knull. They say, yeah, because we know what happens in this series. It states, but you know, it just gives you an idea of his power. It states, did Thanos kill Knull and Thanos wins? He said nothing can kill Knull. Of course, he's gotten blasts or scuffles with the Silver Surfer, taking a blast from him. Silver Surfer, a being that scuffled with Knull before, even admits that he cannot stop Knull. Even with the infant star I have birthed with the last of my cosmic power will not kill him, he will return. Silver Surfer is a being that can blast away solar systems and stuff, you know. Very powerful being Silver Surfer. Still admits he can't take him out. Being the god of symbiotes, just a tiny bit of his essence can control characters like Carnage. It states here, Cletus is connected to Knull, a dark lord of the abyss, and the mind of Cletus Cassidy fighting for dominance inside the same body. Characters like Eddie think they can do something with their symbiote against them. Nah, he's the god of symbiotes. He can just rip the symbiote off of you if he wishes. Like in this occasion, tanking Eddie's attacks and removing it at will. He can do cool stuff like creating this giant arm out of symbiotes, you know, the god of symbiotes. He created and controlled this giant building size looking symbiote. He can just control construct symbiotes like this. He can even trap Eddie inside another symbiote controlled by him to where it's like he's helpless, but he sees himself beating up people that he's cool with. When his connection to the symbiotes was severed around the galaxy, they would all seek new holes because of, you know, this connection was severed because of Thor. And that's why that happened. Another occasion of battling the Silver Surfer with his symbiote Dragon. He converts and transforms Silver Surfer into his own symbiote herald, overpowering the Silver Surfer. Raw power. Surfer only managed to escape because Ego blasted the symbiote off of him. Epic. Knull can just create giant symbiotic creatures that are larger than freaking planets. He's just that powerful. His dragon can take massive blasts from like literal living planets. Respect it. Knull's so powerful, he has minions, or some would say his sentries, can battle the Silver Surfer and even harm him. Give him a run for the money, one would say. Though it is stated he is weakened, but he's outnumbered. Silver Surfer is massively fast in the light because the guy can galaxy hop. Knull's symbiote Dragon can keep up with his speeding raw speed. It was kind of implied by the god of Exelon, aka another species of parasites or whatever, showing Knull to be the creator of them as well, likely through a similar process as how the symbiotes were created. So it's like implied that Knull made other species other than just symbiote. Remember how I brought up earlier, he is the creator of the All Black. He created it out of the void. This All Black sword is technically the first symbiote to ever be created. This sword was so powerful, he used it to freaking kill a Celestial with one hit, evidently. The Necro Blade. It states here, the first of the race your kind called symbiotes began life as a blade. That's right. I pulled its shape from my own cast and its living edge in the fire of the first creator I failed. So like usually I separate swords and their character, or this weapon itself is the feat, but he kind of created this weapon out of his dark abyss. So at the end of the day, it just kind of shows how much power he has. The sword is also known as God Slayer. They even state that Knull kills and I quote, together we split the throats of creation and choked 1 billion stars with the blood of the Almighty, implying to kill a lot of opposition, aka deities. That's why they call it the God Slayer. You probably remember this Necro sword being used by Gore the God Butcher. Knull is the rightful owner of this, but you can get an idea of how strong Knull is just to give an idea of how strong this weapon actually made a character like the God Butcher. This weapon is the reason why the God Butcher Gore was a Skyfather tier, at least, which means Knull has to be at least in the Skyfather tier. By manipulating the Abyss, or Abyss manipulation, and binding it with any other creatures he found, he can control them, drain their energy for himself, and learn all of their knowledge if need to improve himself. This creation becomes like this prototype symbiote and becomes an ungodly massive army that goes through half of the galaxy and destroys entire civilizations. Look at them big old creatures. On top of already being a ridiculous powerhouse and making a Skyfather tier weapon, he's self-improving? This shouldn't even be legal. Of course, he has to battle with Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer's blade created out of his own power cosmic using the Necro Sword, manipulating the environment to catch Silver Surfer off guard and take him out. It's kind of hard to fight this guy. He can just kind of manipulate the environment to his advantage to get the jump on you, if that makes sense. Quicksand style, you know, drowning in the shadows. Believe it or not, Knull seems to be very skilled when it comes to like armed combat. I mean, anybody that uses a sword Has to, right? Silver Surfer even states more lore about him. He has the power to enslave gods and to unmake stars in the sky, aka blast away stars. This is no surprise. Knull should be able to blast away stars with ease because star level stuff in Marvel isn't a big deal. Just like in my other videos about powerhouses. You know, this guy's way above powerhouses. He destroyed like the symbiote planet, recreates his army in seconds. Eddie even refers to him as an elder god named Knull. Eddie implies that he's more powerful than the X-Men, Avengers, and Fantastic Four, like all the big superhero groups, you know. It was even stated if you used to carry a symbiote, even if you don't have it on you no more, he can still control you technically. And that's a lot of different people that's had symbiotes over the years, guys. It's very liquidy in nature because it can just kind of like manifest itself. A lot of these occasions are going to be from Gore the God Butcher. It can even be fired like arrows. It can even regenerate the wielder of the weapon's severed limbs. All this stuff is a Knull feat, even though Gore God Butcher is here in this occasion. All this stuff from Knull can create monsters of darkness. This Necro Sword can turn an entire star black. Just adds up with the other star destroying statements that Knull could produce. I remember there's one time it even kind of took over Thor. The more deities this Necro Sword slays, one could say the mightier it grows in power. This Necro Sword is able to create entire planets. This is like one of the best standard gears you can have. You pick it up, man, you just basically a beast. Think of it like the Unipower. As soon as you pick up the black Necro Sword, you're just going to be amplified beyond degree. It states here, everything below us, the entire planet, it all appears to be made from Gore's weapon, aka Knull's weapon. The sword can throw massive chunks of the moon at you, stated here. When you're wielding the Necro Blade, you get ridiculous durability to be able to handle being gone in a black hole and even outlasting the black hole level, at least making the black hole into like darkness or something. Keep in mind that Gore, before acquiring the Necro Blade, was just like a humanoid alien, but this sword pushes him to new heights, to be able to take on 3 Thors, a Skyfather one, a young one. Knull has created the other being like the Void Knight. This is the same being you saw kind of sort of enslave Silver Surfer in those past scans I showed earlier. It was used against Silver Surfer in those battles, stuff like that. Kind of like one of his minions. He's even got so much power, he can cover the entire planet in the symbiotic dome to protect himself against the light. No more light, period. It states here, no more light. It even states here, Knull, dear God, he just covered the entire Earth in a symbiotic dome. Remember that proto-symbiote I talked about earlier? It's called Mr. E. Knull created this as well, by the way. It's one of his earlier experiments, by the way. You see all that black armor on him? Like, that's actually not his skin. That's actually symbiote armor he created for himself. I mean, you made a sword, so why not make armor for yourself, right? Here's another angle of him fighting him Celestial, Knull. Like, how do you have so much power to create a weapon this powerful, like, on the spot in the middle of battle? Remember that quote I showed earlier in the video about them needing all of the heroes on Earth to fight Knull? It doesn't seem like much of an exaggeration, thanks to his level of threat, like being able to make these different darkness minions to fight different other characters, keeping them all busy. Like, it's just like the whole like planet seems like it's swarmed with them, like on some big event type stuff. Doctor Strange is even involved with the stuff. Bruh. Knull has like enslaved carcasses of Celestials that he took out before them. This is just ridiculous. Knull is even so powerful, characters like the freaking Sentry blitzed him, and Knull was able to use his raw strength to freaking rip the Sentry in half. Oh, by the way, I have a video about Sentry, so this is no easy feat, a being that's normally considered above like normal powerhouses majority of the time, but then you have the whole argument of stable, unstable. So what was he here? Stable, unstable, you know, that stuff gets too confusing. But any version of Sentry getting done like this is insane. Knull is trapping everybody in symbiote goo, and that's the part I showed you about him like swallowing the world. Making more armies for himself, making Storm a part of his army, Captain America, Cyclops, even the Thing. That's right. Knull pretty much confirmed that he was a Skyfather tier, at least by being able to fight a Skyfather Thor, All-Father Thor. Imagine this animated. One could say getting in a slugfest with the All-Father Thor without getting Kermstar, but it seems he still has him reeling as well. But Thor does a better job against him than Sentry does, I would say, right? Thor puts it up on him. He has extreme durability, though, even getting his jaw knocked off. Like, literally, it doesn't seem to do too much lasting damage. Thor, you got to pay attention, buddy. Because this is what the All Black can do. I mean, you saw what it does to other Skyfather tiers in the past. I'm just saying. Like, seriously, Sentry literally died. He was like a soul crazy, right? Jane Foster Thor, she was kind of like the Valkyrie at the time. Yeah, she wasn't Thor, but she was a Valkyrie. Yeah, kind of confusing. Even after the Valkyrie severed his metaphysical connection to the Headless Celestial, you know, yeah, he had a connection to the Headless Celestial to help enslave folks and stuff like that. Knull was still strong enough to overpower Thor Odinson, even though he did catch him off guard and his back was turned. But hey, the sword was strong enough to pierce through him. Nothing new, piercing through all Father tiers, fatally wounding all Father tiers like that. Through this entire event, it's been implied that he truly cannot just truly die for real. They even state, we killed you. You cannot kill the void, little host, I'm coming. Even powerful beings like Doctor Strange can be overwhelmed by Knull's might. For example, these symbiote dragons are breaking through his barriers as fast as he can cast them. He fought Flash Thompson. At first he was a bully, he was a soldier, then a superhero, and then he was dead. Now he's a dragon. Yeah, you see the white dragon. Knull did eventually ended up getting defeated by, of course, they had to make a symbiote be the hero of the story. A powered up symbiote, the Enigma Force, they call it the God of Light. Venom basically got what you would call a temporary power up, like I bring up in all my other vids. It states here, even Jean Grey states, by scanning his mind, she notices, I can't find anything. I can't find anything that can hurt him. He forged his darkness, bent it to his will. He's beaten everything. Oh God, there's nothing we can wait. That's where they find the opposition of his darkness, the light. It stated the light was young then. This is like really his only true weakness. They couldn't beat him without this. It stated, oh God, it's a symbiote. It's his opposite, a God of light. It's trying to get to the planet, but remember, Knull wrapped the whole planet around a symbiotic shield, basically, which kind of shows that the Captain Universe power-up can be seen as like an abstract, like level power-up, or one could say. The Skyfighters had trouble with Knull like Thor, so I'll just show the panels though, because it's still epic and satisfying. Venom now fused with the God of Light energy, Enigma Force, stuff like that, aka temporary power-up. He literally fused the sword and Mjolnir together, making a huge battle axe. He does this slicing against the creatures. The light is literally his weakness. Sends him flying near, giant hand. Venom slices up, chokes him out, stabs him in him like that. And that's that. It even states here, it's implied that he can't be killed for good. Like we might see him again in the future, who knows? He states, you can't win. You may kill me, but the darkness, it lives in your son. So he basically got disintegrated by a powered up Venom. One can say that Venom beat him due to just having a weakness to light being his opposite. One can say he might have not necessarily beat him just because he's just raw power. He just got more raw power. It could be like a weakness, kryptonite type thing. Depends on how you perceive it. That's how I perceived it. The light being his actual weakness, opposite to him. So that's why the battle went so easily and he beat him down so easily, I would say. Not taking away Venom's power at this level though. He was definitely on some universal plus crap or higher celestial tier type stuff at the moment. Thanks to the Enigma Force. This battle axe that he used was made of Silver Surfer's board and Mjolnir. Yeah, it's crazy. Those cut by the All Black will be gradually infected. It states here, with every cut, he felt Gore's weapon creep into him, burrowing deeper into his flesh. Broken blades become black maggots, eating him from the inside out. When it comes to just flashy feats of raw speed, he doesn't really have any, but obviously he has to be at least massively fast and light, because characters like Sentry couldn't just avoid his attacks. Same with characters like Thor, All-Father Thor, characters like that. All the heavy hitters had trouble with him. He literally killed a Celestial by creating a weapon that was able to decapitate one with his freaking shadow. It's like a part of him, basically, if he created something that's able to cause this much lethal damage. Remember that Celestials can melt stuff into slag that's as durable as Mjolnir, like the Destroyer armor. You want to get another idea of how strong Knull is? Well, Knull's minions that he creates is like these little symbiote dragons. There was one time the symbiote dragon possessed Carnage, which is why Carnage became this, absolute godlike version of Carnage for a little while. It even states here, the godly symbiote is known as the Grendel. This was created by Knull, by the way. Usually a symbiote wouldn't be in the Hulkish ranges of power, yet a Venom Hulk. This Carnage is so powered up from a minion of Knull. He's able to slug it out with a Hulk Venom, further proving why Knull is such a threat. His minions or peasants can amplify characters that are nowhere near the Hulk level to Hulkish ranges instantaneously. Overwhelm him, steal the symbiote, and even get powered up from that same symbiote, even though he already had a symbiote dragon on him at the beginning. Oh yeah, by the way, another statement of him being Destroyer of Stars. No, why you bullying Skrulls, bro? It is literally a myth, stated to be a god of the void. He's even gotten a scuffle with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, buddy. Look at all that light. Oh, and by the way, he literally has a legit cult following of worshippers that believe in him and all. Kinda seems to have some resurrection type stuff. Not really though. Kinda, sorta. There was this one time Knull even controlled Mary Jane, had her fighting against Gwen. He kinda reminds me of Superboo, just taking control of folks, possessing them, making himself stronger in the process. This dude Knull appeared in the Black Knights comic. This dude just causing ruckus everywhere, and yeah, he can still make giant versions of avatars of himself, you know what I mean? They say here, no, it's just Knull borrowing his shape to scare people. Another weapon that's considered Knull's weakness is the Ebony Blade. It even states here, the shadow entity known as
as Mr. E, like I mentioned earlier, a being created by Knull as an early prototype of symbiotes, has battled Spider-Man and his allies across the galaxy, all in an attempt to destroy the Ebony Blade, one of the only weapons capable of destroying Knull. It even states here, the sword remains a threat to you, my lord. Knull, that blade. You see that blade right there?
Ridiculously powerful characters like Allfather Thor got messed up by Knull, and even powerful characters like Sentry got ripped in half by Knull. He's clearly above the average heroes on the planet in just raw power output.
To get a better understanding of why Knull is so impressive, check out my Celestial video analyzing them. That kind of gives you an idea of why he's so impressive as well, and just being able to just curb stomp all our favorite Powerhouse heroes. I'm just being honest, he's just ridiculous. Yeah, he pretty much has all our favorite heroes numbered when it comes to their base stage. Black hole level beings like Hulk or higher, Blue Marvel beings that can fight Sentry. Sentry that has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, still had issues with him. When it comes to potency, he should be able to have enough potency to hit something hard enough to where a universe could crack in half, honestly, an observable universe, easily. I mean, this dude literally created a shadow. He pulled out the shadow of a sword that can cut the head off a Celestial. People that are not even him use his blade and they instantly become Skyfather tier. And he's the main wielder of it. You know what I mean? Instantly. It's almost like he's Celestial tier as a minimum. But I'll see you guys later. What do you guys think? Did you know Knull was this strong? Post your comments down below. Let me know what y'all think. Check out those playlists. Respect Knull, the god of symbiotes.